Hello, everybody. We are live here on YouTube and LinkedIn with my very good friends Joshua Starmer and Gaurav Sen. Great people, great YouTubers, some of my favorite people. Quick introduction. So Gaurav has a great YouTube channel and a page called Interview Ready. It's this one over here where he has a lot of great courses on AI, and he has, what do you have, 660,000 subscribers or something great like that, 670.
Yes. Yes.
Amazing channel. You should definitely check it out. We talk about AI and a lot of technology stuff. We'll hear more about your channel. So happy to have
Hey.
you here, Gaurav. And then my buddy Josh Starmer. We have this regular lives with where we invite great people. And Josh has an amazing YouTube channel with I don't even know, a million. I can't count that high. 1,300,000 subscribers, and a great book called the StatQuest Illustrated Guide to Neural Networks and AI, and also the StatQuest Illustrated Guide to machine learning, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
awesome.
so,
thank you.
Hi, Josh. How's it going?
I don't have any slides to introduce you. Do you have any slides so I can say, hey, this is Louis Serrano of Serrano Academy.
He's awesome. This one.
And he's got this great book called Grokking Machine Learning. You know, to be honest, a lot of people give me their books. This is one of the few that I've read, and I loved it.
Thank you.
Louis is fantastic. So anyways, he's got an awesome YouTube channel as well with lots and lots of subscribers, and hooray.
Yay. So excited.
I just want to mention, Luis, Josh, both of you have massive channels, but it's when you're not sure of a topic or when you really need to understand things in depth, I check out your channels because really, it's true. I was just telling Luis that his video on attention is what built my intuition. Otherwise, I couldn't get it. I couldn't understand what attention is. Attention is all you need. No, you need Luis' channel.
Yeah.
Right. All you need is Luis. I like that one. Yeah.
I love it.
It took me a long time to understand it. I mean, I don't know if I fully understand it, but it took me a while to get attention as like, I need to see things geometrically. I can't see a formula. And the formula was like softmax of KQ. And then everything you read is like, oh, it's like, I don't know, it's like a key inquiry at a database and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I need to draw pictures. And I drew pictures for years. And I was hoping that attention would stick around long enough while it takes me to understand. And it took me years of like asking people and stuff to realize it's just a word that moves towards another one, like planets, right? And then you have gravity laws, and then you have like gravity, some things pull others more than others. So it's just really a whole gravitation a theory of words moving around. And you know something I saw recently, like I used to think it was like the universe, right? I used to think embeddings are like the universe where everything's flying. It's actually more like planet Earth. Like it's not round, but it's like it behaves like round. That's why you do cosine distance, which you do in planet Earth, right? You don't just do distance like in the universe. You do angle distance like in the Earth, because you have nothing in the middle. No word has embedding 0, 0, 0, 0. And then stuff is roughly around, I mean, it's spiky, but it's roughly. So anyway, very excited about thinking about that stuff.
I think the problem with mathematical formula is people like Josh, they end up writing these formulae and then you have to suffer. They are the only people who understand it. The Josh, I really am very happy that I'm with both of you, because Luis, like I mentioned, is absolutely amazing at explaining the intuition, and Josh, your double bam and triple bam,
they're legendary.
I have at least heard those 10 times or 20 times. When I'm in trouble, when you want to figure out policy optimization, stuff like that, it's your videos.
Oh, well, thank you. Wow. Oh, that's really great.
I feel like I'm the biggest fan, and I am getting invited to a big talk.
Well, there's a lot of fanboying here because I'm a huge fan of your channel, Gaurav.
Exactly.
By the way, you have a particular knowledge that I lack 100%, which is anything that's system design, anything that's distributed systems, software architecture, ML ops. I run in the other direction because I don't understand any of it. Or I become good at avoiding questions by using like metaphors. Like people ask me something super technical, and I'm like, well, it's kind of like what my grandpa said, blah, blah, blah. And so many times I'm like, where is Gaurav when I need him? Because I need you to be there
Yeah,
and
right.
explain exactly what's going on. So I have actually a lot of questions for you on all the sort of technical background of software architecture, all that stuff. Just for me to learn, because
It's really fun today then.
yeah. So
Awesome.
let me see. Actually, while we figure this out, like,
Wait,
will we start getting?
wait,
Yeah, go ahead.
Josh, when did you come up with your channel? When was the? I mean,
Oh,
what is the first video?
yeah. So I used to work in a laboratory, a research laboratory, and I would teach my coworkers. I was teaching my coworkers basic statistics, and it dawned on me one day that if I made these little stat lessons, I called them stat chats at the time. If I made them as YouTube videos, people could watch them when they needed to watch them, as opposed to when I had time to teach them. Does that make sense? And so, like, say, like, they're late at night at home and they're reading something, and it's like, and the R squared was 0.8, and they're like, what the heck is R squared? And I was like, if there was a YouTube video, they could watch it. And originally, if you've seen any of my early videos, or my early videos are all about mice, because I worked in a mouse genetics lab, and these videos were specifically for my coworkers, because I wanted them, because there's lots of videos on R squared out there, right? There's lots and lots of stuff, but I wanted something that I knew they would be able to understand. So it's in the context of their own language and their own examples. And they're like, oh, I get it. So I never actually expected anyone else to watch my videos. So it was a big surprise when people were like, stop using mouse genetics example. In the comments, they were like, people were getting all bent out of shape. They're like, this would be better if you didn't talk about mice. And I was like, okay, other people are watching this, so I better branch out a little bit. But that's in a nutshell, that's how it started a long time ago.
Then you're like, okay, fine, I'll do hamster genetics now.
Yeah, exactly.
You want it, right?
Nematode.
That's a good one.
And what's the story with the ukulele?
What is the story with the ukulele? Is there a story? I don't even know if there's a story. It just sort of happened. I have no idea. I started doing these goofy intros at the beginning of my videos, because I just thought it was hilarious to have, because I was talking about statistics, the most boring thing ever, and I was like, what can I do to spice this stuff up? And so so I started like doing a little song, a little dance, and I was like, oh, there we go. And ultimately I was like, one day it'd be awesome to have like a live band, that's like playing, and all, warm up band, getting everyone crazy, and how like t-shirt guns, and people are launching them into the audience, and confetti and lasers and all that stuff. That's my dream stat quest, is when it's like completely over the top light show with thumping subwoofer basses and just a party. That would be the best statistics lesson
Love it.
ever.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's Mr. Beast level. Like, that's beyond.
Mr. Beast, yeah.
That's what I'm shooting for. Yeah, maybe I'll send him a note.
AI. Yeah. Good. What about you, Gaurav? I want to hear the story about your
what's
channel,
your story?
and interview ready as well if you want.
Yeah.
But let's hear how did it become a channel? Yeah.
So in 2015, I had a sore throat and I didn't go to office, and that's when I started creating videos, because I felt like my voice is really deep now. So I created some software programming videos, and from there I moved to system design. There was a time very similar to you, Josh, when my company had interns and they would get hired, but we couldn't retain them because first we were not able to, I think, give them the knowledge that they needed. So to train them, I started shooting videos on system design. And then I felt like, if I'm doing this, then I can just post it on YouTube instead. So
why not?
And so that's
that's awesome. Yeah. So it's almost the same introduction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luis,
Similar for me. I was working. Actually, I realized my first two videos where they didn't become popular. I was applying when I was at Google. I was trying to switch to teaching. I realized I was more of a teacher than a coder.
Yeah.
And more of a talker than a doer, really. I made two videos when I applied for a job at Khan Academy.
Oh.
It's been like 8 years, and I haven't heard from them. But but I'm a huge fan. I like them.
Yeah.
But then I ended up I applied to Udacity, and I got a job there doing the ML courses, and it was a really fun group. They gave us a lot of like a liberty to do whatever we wanted, and I started sending people short videos of what I wanted to do. Like I'd be like, okay, for linear regression, I kind of want to do this, and I would make it on Keynote and send it as an email. And then one day I had one so big that I made it a YouTube link because to me, I used to work at YouTube. To me, I knew that a video like a video that doesn't get watched on YouTube is the most secure thing in the world. Like you can store your secrets there and nobody will ever see them. So I put it there as a hard drive, basically.
Yeah.
But that one video started getting a lot of views. It got, somebody found it, it got shared. Someone in a VP shared it, and that one started getting views. And when I got a lot of views, I'm not talking a lot. Like when I saw I had 3,000 views, I saw that it got recommended back to me. And I remember from YouTube that they don't recommend every video. The pool of recommended videos is very small.
Yeah.
So when I saw it recommended back to me, I was like, oh, I made it into this pool of recommended videos.
Yeah.
And so I started making more. And yeah, that's gave me a lot of freedom to put my own material as well. And so I started making my own videos, and that's kind of how it started. And I just kind of kept going organically. Yeah.
It's amazing.
So
so you, when you got those 3,000 views, which you got them completely organic, you didn't share it with anybody.
No, somebody shared it in the company, like a VP shared it, and I thought, okay, because I can make it public, and I shared it on like my Facebook, and I didn't have a big LinkedIn. I shared it on stuff, and I think at that time there were not very many machine learning videos. So for a while, you just go machine learning and YouTube, and they would just show up there. And then I made a deep learning one. Like when I look at the views that video has, it has on a daily basis, like more than all the ones that all my videos together have today. Because right now there's a lot of competition, right? But for a while there's not many.
Yeah.
And so it just racked up a lot of views.
Is that the friendly introduction to machine learning?
That's a friendly introduction to machine learning. Yeah.
That's how I got introduced to your channel. So yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
So happy. Yeah. When I hear it now, I want to go back and edit it and make it better, because it was so rough around the edges. Like you can hear the chair squeaking, and you can hear me taking pauses and breathing. Like it's it's dear to my heart, but I can't watch it now. Yeah, but that's how it all started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us more, Gaurav, about Interview Ready. How did you start Interview Ready? Because you launched the course, right? Aman says congratulations on the course launch.
Huge. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I had in 2019, towards the end of the year, I decided to teach full time. So then I thought, what can I do? Should I post courses on Udemy, or should I post them somewhere else? And then you can create your own website is the great idea Gaurav Sen had. And since then, I had a system design course which came out in 2020, and we had low-level design. But after 5 years, after 2020, we had our anniversary yesterday, and we launched a new course, AI Engineering.
Congratulations! So cool. There's your AI Engineering. There's your low-level design in the screen.
That's me standing like this. Yes, this is very important in the thumbnail.
Fantastic. So to everybody watching, definitely go check out Interview Ready.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm gonna check out Interview Ready. So let's see. Let me ask a couple of questions. How do you? What's your approach towards like teaching like design engineering, system design engineering with AI or without AI, right? Because you have both, right?
Yeah.
It's not just AI centric.
The most useful way that I have found, that this is also partly how the channel moved to system design, is to think about how customers look at this problem. So when we are talking about design, there are going to be API calls, there's going to be databases, there's going to be indexes. All of that doesn't matter. You're looking at how is the customer actually going to use this app, and then how do you fulfill those requirements. So as an engineer, it's our job to make sure that yes, the technical part of the system is fine, but all of the decisions, all of the trade-offs come from customer requirements. So whenever I take a problem, I try to bring in an example where there's some money involved, or some customer is wanting to see their Instagram notification or their feed come up quickly. So then it becomes a unique challenge.
Okay.
So most of my videos are geared towards, imagine you're a customer and you have to watch your Instagram feed, or you are sending a person a message on WhatsApp. How does this happen quickly?
Okay, what happens in the background when you're sending a message to the WhatsApp family group.
Yes.
What's the okay?
Yes.
I like that you start with an example. I think I have that, and Josh definitely has that too, right? Like starting with an example rather than here's a huge diagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've noticed that about Josh comes up with really nice, clean examples, and I think
definitely
it's something. Yeah, you probably think about the examples.
The example is the hardest part usually. You know, it's because it has to be it has to be perfect because it has to like illustrate everything I need to talk about. It has to have all the, it has to work, but it also has to have specific bumps and warts and problems so that I can illustrate everything. And but it also has to be as simple as possible. All these constraints mean that I spend a lot of time on that. Yeah, that's one of the hardest parts. Yeah.
Yeah, I like go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry. Just to a short follow up on that. Is it like, when you come up with this example, you do a dry run with the example before and then you come back to it and then improve on the example, or is it like you come up with the example directly?
Oh, it's an iterative process. It takes a lot of different, because I'll start working with it and I'll realize that, like, yes, certain things I can highlight certain things, but I need to highlight these other things. So I have to go back and tweak it and see if I can make it highlight all the little things that I want to illustrate in the video. So it's a real iterative, and sometimes it means like having to rewrite every little slide because I think I've got it working and it turns out it doesn't, and then I have to come up with a completely different example and I have to just redo everything, and that's also part of the process is lots of editing and redoing.
I find that for text, you have a good example of like 3 words, right? Like something is squash, it's pizza.
Yeah.
The pizza is squash. Like I find that if you can do a language example with like a few words, like your entire language is like 4 tokens or something.
Yeah.
I explain it there. I try that with images, right? Like I have to bring everything down to a 2x2 image.
Yeah.
And it's a 2x2 matrix.
Yeah.
So what's your, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, one thing that's cool about having a really simple example like a 2x2 matrix is you can actually see the math and do the math. It's not too complicated. It's not like completely bonkers.
Exactly.
You can play with it yourself, or you can, and that's what a lot of this has always surprised me, and maybe it surprises you guys too. I don't know if this happens, but people redo my math all the time. They'll like recreate it, and I think that's probably educational, but it always surprises me because I'm actually terrible at math. And there's always little typos, and so in the comments they're always like, you multiplied 2 times 3 and you got 7. What's going on?
I do that so much. And I'm like, wow, people are going through the entire calculations.
It always surprises me. I think it's helpful, but it just surprises me people actually do it, and they're like paying that close attention to what I'm actually talking about.
Yeah, I have that too, and I don't like, for example, I'm slow at math, and I don't like, for example, 2 vectors being multiplied, like a matrix multiplication. So in a 2x2, you can actually do all the 2 equations, right? Like 2 times 3 plus 1 times 5, and then it's just visible. I do it for me pretty much.
Yeah.
Somebody says, Josh videos feel like Phil Dunphy from Modern Family teaching me math and stats with magic. That's a good one.
Phil Dunphy is the husband of Claire. Is that correct?
The husband of Claire. Yeah. That's a good one.
That's a compliment.
I think that's definitely a compliment. Yeah. I wonder with my Colombian accent, I sound like Sofia Vergara. We should do a whole ML Modern Family episode.
Also, I don't know if I should announce this, but you guys are coming to India.
We are. Oh, that's a good segue. Yes. Yeah.
We're not just going to India, Gaurav. We're going to your house.
We're going to your house in Bangalore, and we're hanging out.
We're hanging out in your house.
Yes.
You'll get water and tea. I'll have to order something because I suck at cooking. So.
Oh no, don't worry. Well, what we're gonna do is, for the people in the crowd, we'll make a live. We should make a live, the 3 of us together in the same place. I think that'd be awesome.
Maybe we'll be cooking.
Cooking Indian food with Gaurav, Josh, and Luis.
Trying not to get poisoned with Gaurav. Yes.
I don't know if we have the same talents in cooking than we do in for explaining stuff. Like, I feel like we could. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That'll be awesome.
Cool.
You guys are coming to Bangalore. So, folks, Josh and Luis are coming to Bangalore, and we are going to mob them. We are going to find where they are, and then we are going to. Speaking of mobbing, unfortunately, one of the most underrated channels that I have seen is Luis's channel. It's absolutely amazing. You can just go there, subscribe, and then think about what does the channel do. It's that good.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you're so nice. Thank you so much.
And yes, I mean, I'm just being frank. I use your channel, so
you're so kind. I'm
if
blushing.
Subscribe to my channel, you should definitely subscribe to Luis's channel.
Yeah,
I'm blushing here. Thank you so much, bro. And likewise,
I would say the same for Josh, but Josh already has like a million.
Yes, he already has all the subscribers. Well, likewise, I mean, anybody watching this, you subscribe to Gaurav. I'm guessing you already are. And the same thing for Josh. People sometimes already are subscribed because they just it's a lot of fun. But if you are not, you should definitely subscribe to Gaurav and to Josh. I'm a huge fan. Whenever I need something, for anytime I need anything of software architecture, I just go directly to yours and I find it there.
That's huge.
So thank you. Or I send people when I get questions that I can't answer. I'm like, check out this channel. Check out Gaurav's channel.
Gaurav, I have a question, because you said you went to educating full time. A while ago, 6 years ago. Is that right?
5 years ago, 6 years ago, approximately.
Which is amazing. The question is how do you stay current? Because you're teaching. So it's like, for me, I teach like these methods. Some of them have been around for hundreds of years. So it's easy for me to I just read some book or something like that and I learn it. But you have to stay at the front edge of everything. And how do you do that as an educator? And how do you know? Because people ask me all the time, how do you know what the next big trend is? And you must be relatively good at that. If you could talk about that, I would love to hear.
To be frank, it's exhausting. It's something that it's not. It's a. I guess in a way it's good because you are always chasing the most useful thing in the business side, and then trying to teach that in a technical way. But it is really, really exhausting. AI has come in, and then you're talking about AI engineering, retrieval augmented generation, model context protocol, and they come out like 2 months ago, and then you have to read on that, and then you have to prepare it. It is exhausting, but also the good thing about this is that you can see in people. They say that, all right, this is something that I can go and do in office. So it takes me maybe every weekend. I'm sorry, not weekend. Every day in the evening when my son is going to sleep and he's just looking at me and I'm looking at him, I'm also scrolling a paper.
Do you tell your son about AI and read stories about?
That will put him to sleep for sure. Yeah.
Gaurav, how old is your son?
He's 2 and he's 2 years 6 months now. So.
So he's super cute. That's like the cutest age ever.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah. What about you, Josh? Do you have a kid?
I don't. I used to have 2 cats. And they used to parade around in the background, but these days I'm cat free, and it's all right.
You have the ukulele, so
you have.
I do have the ukulele.
Someone's asking, Josh, where's your guitar? The signature. I think that's right there. You got a lot of instruments.
I do. I used to. I do love music, and it used to be my number one passion. Things changed with StatQuest, and now StatQuest is my number one passion. But I love music, and I love opportunities to play music, and I grew up playing the cello, so I've got some cellos here. I've got a bass guitar back there. I've got a local concert where I'm playing the bass. I don't actually know how to play the bass, so I'm cramming the bass guitar for the next month and a half. for that. So yeah, music is a big part of my life. It's super fun. It's sort of a way of like, you take a shower, to clean off the day's dirt, and to start fresh. Music is sort of like an internal way to like get rid of all the, not necessarily bad thoughts, but you start thinking in ruts. You start thinking like in certain patterns, and in my business, I have to be very creative, and I have to think of things in new ways and new and exciting ways. And music is a way to kind of help my brain sort of refresh and start anew. And so I'm always kind of strumming or doing something like that to kind of reset the brain.
Yeah, I think that's necessary. I love that you use analogies to explain us how music is like a shower.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think it's necessary to get out of the math out a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, it's like taking a shower on the inside.
A shower on the inside.
I think one thing that I would also like to mention is, Luis, you have courses in various places. One is Coursera, and then you have deeplearning.ai. So, guys, if you're looking to check out those courses.
Oh yeah, I can. Thank you. Yeah, I can put the link in the comments. I don't have an image for that, but I do have a course in Coursera. Is the biggest course right now I have selling is deep learning. Sorry, it's in Coursera. Actually, deep learning AI. It puts courses in Coursera, so it's kind of in both.
Yeah.
It's called Math for Machine Learning. So I explain the math behind machine learning. Linear algebra is one course, calculus, and then statistics and probability. But it's basically without formulas, because I'm bad at formulas. I get confused with any formula.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much analogies and little animals and fruits walking around. And yeah, I like it. So thank you. Yeah, I'll put the comment. And then I have one on with Jay Alamar, who also we had him in this in our chats a couple of times. Great creator on semantic search and large language models. That's when we were Cohere. We built that. That was also in the LAI. Josh, you also have a course in the LAI, right?
I have a deep learning AI course on attention. So if you're interested, I'm going to be very honest. Lewis has probably the best video on attention, but mine is if you want to learn how to code it in PyTorch, and you want to learn some other sort of technical details of like the different types of attention, like masked attention and unmasked attention, and if you want to learn about those distinctions and learn how to code everything, then you can check out my deep learning AI course. That was super fun to create.
Yeah, and also the first time I've seen like a coded from scratch transformer. Like like this is amazing because it's in front of you. Like it's not like lots of lines of code in some service, like a notebook with a transformer, like the simplest version of a transformer with attention, with positional encoding, with tokenizer, like everything in one. So anybody who wants to see an encoder, like an encoder decoder transformer, I cannot recommend this enough. Like, just check out the course, and in the book it's also there, right? Like in this book, in this book it's also the entire thing.
It's all there.
Here's a question somebody's asking for. Actually, let's answer that in a little bit. The channel of both. So let me just type the 3 channels on here.
Let me introduce Prabhakar. Let me introduce
Hi, Prabhakar.
2 legends. Yes, one is Luis. He's the person, if you want to know anything about machine learning, if you want to know anything about a lot of data wrangling and how do you process data, how do you gain insights, inferences, he's the guy. And if you're looking for math, if you're looking for the how the math actually works out, and if you're looking for a lot of fun, and this person over here, that's Josh Starmer, but you will know him from StatQuest, and you know him with the ukulele, and you know him the double bam. So there's a double bam, and then there's a double bam.
And the cool characters like Statsquatch and the normal Saurus. Yeah, so I wrote all the channels here, and let me finish that sentence, Gaurav. And if you want to learn what's behind what's happening in the computer and in the servers underneath while all the AI is happening, you have Gaurav Sen is the place to go.
That's right.
That's the place to go, and nowhere else.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, you should do that Tarzan thing in the videos.
That's awesome.
I do that with my son. I go and he goes ah.
Love it.
Yeah, if you actually like, Lewis and I are great if you want to like think about what you're doing. If you actually want to do something, look at Gaurav.
I think so. Yeah, if you want to actually get things done.
You actually want to do it.
As I said, I'm a talker,
Humility.
so if you want to see like nice stories, but like get stuff done, yeah, definitely. Gaurav, I have a question I've been wanting to ask you. You read 100 papers on distributed systems and AI. That's you put that in LinkedIn, and I want to ask you. I have like 10 questions stemming out of there. Like, any favorites? Any techniques to read so many papers? Let's start with favorites. Do you have favorite papers that you read?
Yes, there are two papers that I would love to recommend anybody who's looking for distributed systems, especially. One is Facebook's Memcached. It's a pretty old paper, I think 2012. So how do these caches work? How do you store memory? And they had a very interesting problem in Facebook. When you load the homepage, you get notifications, you get friend requests, you get messages, you get the recommendation feed. All of this needs to be cached. And each of these like memory pieces have to be put in different computers, because one engineer is managing the messaging, one engineer is managing the recommendation feed. Not one engineer, an entire team, maybe a very large team, and they have their own databases. How do you get this stuff and keep it close to the user so that they can, when they want it, they can just see it quickly? So super challenging. And when Memcache came up, Mark Zuckerberg was also coding, so it's kind of interesting looking at the history of Facebook. So that's one paper that I would really recommend. And there's another one which is very little. It's not very popular, but I really liked it. It's well written. It's Google Monarch. It's a time series database, and they have done a great job. Although when I created a video on it, nobody was interested.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
But it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, it is sometimes that way. Yeah, but it's not a very popular system. But I really like the paper and the algorithms, and they have really optimized it to an extreme. Yeah.
Do you see, like, because we see a lot of advances in AI, like, models and attention models better, but in the sense of the architecture, like, I'm guessing, I'm gonna just mention random, like DeepSeek made a model much smaller, right? Like many less parameters to have like a talking model. Like what are advances on the architecture side, or what should we look up after? Yeah.
There's something called Ray, Ray AI, and they have one of the problems with the distributed system, which is trying to train a model, is how do you do reinforcement learning in a distributed system? You have this pipeline, and then you have to now send data back, and so it becomes a really complex graph with multiple systems distributed across a topology. So Ray solved that problem really well, and I think Ray is a paper that you might want to read. There's another one which goes a little near the hardware level, or really close to the code, and that is FAISS by Facebook.
Okay.
So those guys are able to scale to 1 billion vectors for searching, and that's those two. I mean, if you're looking at the infrastructure or the coding side of things at scale, really complex problems, and their engineers are absolutely awesome.
Yeah, wonderful. Wow. Yeah, I realize I take all that for granted, and it's like lots happening in the background. Did you say Ray as in RAE?
RAY.
RAY. Okay, RAY like a ray.
Yeah.
And the other one was
Ray. Yeah. That's FAISS. The paper name is billion. I think it's scaling to billion similarity search. I can actually get the paper.
I'm just gonna put the names here so people have a frame of reference, and I may make typos.
It's on Meta.
It's okay.
That's amazing.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really awesome. These guys, what they do, I mean, I can just read about them and then I go like, oh, let me explain it to you. But then they actually do it. So they actually come up with the techniques. And
that's super challenging.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let me shift the question to you guys, because you read
sure.
A lot. So what would be your favorite like sources of information or papers or videos? Like what would be your top 2 or top
So the
most?
two of you, and the two of you, Jay Alamar, I love watching his stuff.
Yeah, Jay's
There's a
stuff is
few,
great.
Substacks. I'm not very good at reading papers in any topic. I mean, it's just been so hard for me. So when I read a paper, I just put it on DeepSeek and like copy paste it on ChatGPT or something and start asking it questions, simple questions like explain this to me. What's the main formula? Give it to me with n equals 2. Give it to me with the little analogies or something. And that, so I do read papers, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a few channels that like explain papers, but I have like a list of people I follow. There's like Letitia, Coffee Break with Letitia is pretty good. Louis Bouchard is pretty good to stay. And Sandra Kublik, I follow her. She puts all good stuff with papers. Yeah, just I have like a list of places I go for, but it's very random. Like I'm very sort of all over the place. But I feel like AI is so much new stuff all the time that you kind of have to just, I don't know. It's like when you go to the people go to the supermarket and have a minute to like grab as many things as possible, and the TV shows. Like I feel like that with AI. I'm like, if I didn't get something, it doesn't matter. Like I missed it. Yeah. What about you, Josh?
I mean, I have to read stuff. And so I just search and search and search and search and search and search until I find something that is legible. And usually what that means is I have to find like 10 different articles that talk about different aspects of the same thing. And then I have to connect all the dots between the different ways of thinking about it and see if I can come up with like a common thread or, yes, usually what I do or oftentimes I try to find, although I'm not good at reading original manuscripts, oftentimes I'll find the original manuscript and I'll just read through it. Even if I don't understand it, I'll start seeing words that are important that pop up a bunch of times, and I won't understand what those words are. But then I can go down a level and try and look at those words, and that'll lead me to other stuff, and that'll lead me to new vocabulary in there that I'm not familiar with. So I'll go down another level and start trying to figure out what that vocabulary is. And sooner or later, I can kind of pop back up, and get back to the original manuscript. And then I read through it and it sort of makes a little bit more sense. And, so oftentimes if I find code implementations, I'll just read through the code. One thing that's nice about code is code can't be vague. And so I can actually see what's happening and I go, oh, that's what that equation is supposed to represent. Or that excuse me, or that block diagram, they've got like just some block with an arrow going into it and an arrow coming out of it. And you're like, what?
Yeah, they skip over.
Yeah, so I can look at the code and the code actually says, this is what happens in this block. And I go, oh, I see what they're doing. They're just adding 1 to everything. No big deal. It's like it's almost always boils down to something silly like that, where it's like, it sounds so fancy, has all this crazy terminology. But then you like look at the actual code and you're like, oh, they're just incrementing everything by 1.
Yeah, make a big deal and then in the code. Yeah
Exactly. The code doesn't lie, right?
Yeah.
Josh just described the depth first search algorithm very well.
I love it. Actually,
He went down the stack and then he came up,
and then you go back, and then you go back, and I love it. Depth first search. Yeah. Wow, that's nice.
Yes, that's. I think Luis, you also do something similar. I use depth first search sometimes and breadth first search sometimes.
Yeah, I do one or the other. I don't know which one I am, but sometimes I'm depth first search. Like I think I was a bad student in school because I'm a depth first search. So like if you're a breadth first search, you're a good student, right? Because you take the first, you learn the first level in the tree, and then the second level, and that's the quiz. I would just gonna go in a rabbit hole on the first level and then just keep going deep until I understand it. And then I only do that question in the quiz and not the others because I didn't get through the rest. So sometimes I'm that.
No, it's it's funny. When I was in college, I always thought the introductory courses, the 101 courses, were the hardest. the ones that kind of surveyed everything and like never went deep, I would always be like, these are so hard. I had to work so hard to even get like an okay grade in those classes. Whereas all like once I got to upper level classes where you're like learning like we spent a whole semester just coding and operating, not an operating system, a compiler. You know, that was relatively easy. It was a lot of work, but conceptually it was like, I know what I'm doing. I just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. So yeah, I think I'm just like depth
You're more depth,
first search person all the time. And that's just easier for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. What about you, Gaurav? Are you depth first or breadth first?
I think I'm the kind of guy, when given a deadline, I go like, okay, I'm going to go.
You're a deadline guy. You're a get it done with whatever tree.
Because otherwise it never stops. You keep just going deeper and deeper, and you say, okay, I can create this video in about a month.
Yeah.
And then you reach the deadline and you go, there's a lot more to this video, and it never stops.
Yeah.
So you go, okay, no, that's enough now.
Yeah.
It's time for the deadline to kick in.
I feel like Gaurav, I think your observation that you're going to look at what the deadline is, I think that might be a sort of a not just a defining characteristic of like how you can even be in the area you are, right? Like I don't have a moving target, right? Linear regression is the same as it's ever been, right? There's not a whole lot of innovation in that field, but I feel like one of your tricks is you set these deadlines, and so you can you do all this stuff, you keep up with the latest greatest, and then you're like, but I need to have this done by this time, and so I'm going to go this deep, and I'm just going to do what's necessary, and I'm and that's fine. And I think that's awesome, and it's enlightening to me, because I was like, oh, I should try that.
I think
I should definitely.
It's very interesting, Josh. Yeah, Luis and Josh, both of you, the best thing about when I see a video of yours, it looks like a work of art, actually, because it's really, really well explained. With me, though, I have the thing that if I don't release this in this week, then DeepSeek is going to be super useful, but it's going to be in hype for the first 2 weeks. So the reality of how interesting is this topic, and then you try to complete as much as you can, but then you also have to push. So it's not maybe the most romantic thing out there, but it's
I think
it's a trade-off. I think you describe regularization, right? Because you have that punishing term of like how simple it has to, how if it's too complex you punish it, but if it's not exact enough you punish it, so you kind of have like a sweet spot.
I love it. I love it.
Yes, I like that example. Yes. It's like
we made a discussion of like how we describe each other using algorithms. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Josh? I think I interrupted you.
No, I'm just in awe of being able to do that. That's and I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna maybe not this year. Like I'm finishing a book right now, but come 2026, my New Year's resolution is going to be see if I can do like a deadline focus sort of like content creation just for a little while, just maybe 6 months, and see what happens. I would love to try it. So I'm excited.
Guys, I have to ask this question. I'm sorry, but I have to ask this question. Both of you have written books, both of you are authors. So please tell us how you do this, because it takes a really long time. I've never been able to write one. Which kind of describes my personality in just short. Gaurav has never written a book. So how do you it takes from what I understand, it takes really
it does take a long time. The catch for me is that I don't actually write. I just draw pictures, and then I have little captions. It's almost like drawing little like cartoons. or funnies, and to me that's like that's sort of my way of getting around it. But it's true. It's a long, it's like a 6 month, 8 month, sometimes a year long thing. But for me, what it is, the process of writing or drawing my little cartoons or whatever is actually the process of me organizing my thoughts. Like I like my video, my book on neural networks and AI. I had a bunch of content on neural networks and AI, but I'd never kind of laid it all out in sort of like a big thing, and I could see how everything was related, and I could see how one thing led to another, and it was just like a way of like just organizing my brain with all these scattered things, and just saying, okay, we're just going to lay it out this way, and that's what I enjoyed about writing a book, and that's how I'm actually able to do it. Is it's less writing and more of just an opportunity to organize, and I guess I like organizing things.
Yeah. Luis,
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I have a different approach because I didn't really I just kind of got a book deal a while ago, and then we started working with an editor, but I realized I'm more of a talker than a writer. I don't really write. I write the way I talk, which sounds good when it's on a video and it's casual. It's like this thing moves here, and then this is kind of like this. But if you write like that, it doesn't work. And so, but I also don't want to write super formal, because that's just like, you just don't understand. So I found a happy medium. I had a very good editor at Manning. Her name was Marina, and she really nailed down. And she's not an AI person, so like I was like, okay, when we talk about this and it's clear for both of us, we're reached a good level of understanding. But yeah, it was a lot of rewriting. I think it took me like 3 years. The advice I give is, if you write a book, it got to be about evergreen content. Like, can't write a book about that technology that may be obsolete in 2 years or something. So it has to be and I think you can find evergreen content in anything, right? Like, I think even you can find the basic stuff that people need to learn, whether it's in system design or in AI or in hardware or anything. There's some concept. That's what you should write a book on.
Like Gaurav, you were just talking about that Facebook manuscript from 2012, right? 13 years ago.
Yeah.
It's still relevant. Like,
yes,
that would be, I don't know, that'd be awesome to write about.
Yeah. Those kind of research papers or those kind of systems which still power systems today. Like Google has a paper from 2008, Google File System. It's got upgrades now, but it still powers the world. So but then that's the reason why they make all this money. So they are great at AI, and they're great at systems also. So but all three of us combined would be like Google's founder, maybe, or Google's founder probably was even more so.
But Gaurav, I mean, I was just thinking about sort of the stuff you talk about, and how that would just make such a, because you've got older material, but you can also kind of show how it's been built upon and modified, and it becomes evergreen in that it's a lesson in sort of how things have developed, because it'll like, the residuals of these things, these systems, the language associated with them will last, and like 10 years from now, people are still going to be like using some bit of terminology that was originally coined by someone at Google in 2015 or something, because they were, that's a big thing. Like with reinforcement learning, I've been recently diving into reinforcement learning myself, and and there's all this language and terminology that comes from this classical field, even though reinforcement learning is now super buzzy with large language models and things like that. There's you end up with this weird path to where you are now that involves all these things that kind of built on each other and never fundamentally ever went away. So
I like to find those core concepts. RL, for example, has had a resurgence, and I mean, things like neural networks that always get used, things like, I don't know, MapReduce, for example, Gaurav, like, is that still sort of used a lot? Like that concept still gets used a lot, right? Like may get like modified.
Every data engineer, I'm sorry, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, exactly what you said. I couldn't agree more. The job of a data engineering, I mean, professional to some extent, is MapReduce. So, like, if you data pipelines and MapReduce, so you hit the nail on the head. That algorithm or that procedure is sometimes powering entire careers, not just systems. So, it's really nice to think about when you read these things, and then you realize that, oh, there's a core to it. And then there's the wrapper, and then some people are focused on programming language, or they're focused on the framework. But I think Luis and Josh, you just mentioned that no, those get stripped away when you look at 10 years later, you just look at the
Yeah.
core algorithm.
Yeah, so that's this kind of stuff for writing books. It has to be those core things, right? I remember I've had to study some. It was when I was interviewing in Silicon Valley that I had to learn things like MapReduce and that kind of stuff, and I found that challenging, but it was quite interesting. I mean, it's just the stuff that happens underneath. Yeah, actually, this is a good question that I think may work for the three of us, and I want to do it in both directions. So it says, I'm a software engineer, zero knowledge in AI and ML. How can I transition to AI engineer? But I also want to do it in the other direction. Like if you're a data scientist or a math person who knows more like AI and ML core, like how do I transition into engineer in that direction, right? Either data engineer or anything very like infrastructure based. So yeah, any thoughts, any of you on that?
I could maybe I could describe some of the techniques that my friends have used to transition from software engineering to AI engineering. And they suppose you're working in an organization and you see that there is a project or some sort of improvement you can do in the team that you have. So it might be customer success, or it might be giving a user recommendations for products that they can buy. And here you can think about bringing in AI now, vectors. So you do a vector search and you see similar products and you recommend them. It's been around forever. We had text search earlier, now it's gone to vector databases. So I see a lot of people move to AI with very basic projects, simple things to do. They get permission from their manager, they go ahead, create that, and then they slowly switch to AI engineering. So they become AI engineers in a very subtle way. Before they know it, they're AI engineers.
Yeah.
So this would be one way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I think I'm going to use that advice. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all I can do is like toot my own horn and like, oh, check out my books. Because I feel like they do. I mean, personally, I think they do a good job sort of building up a foundation knowledge that you'll genuinely understand what the tools are doing, and as a result, you also will maybe understand their limitations. It takes away the magic if you learn the fundamentals. I feel like there's nothing scarier than relying on magic, because you don't really know when it's going to work and when it's going to fail. And when you learn about neural networks and sort of AI from like a fundamental perspective, you realize it's just a lot of multiplication and addition is what it boils down to. I mean, there's an occasional raise something, as an exponential. But for the most part, all you're doing is multiplying numbers and adding them together. There is no sort of magic step. But I think it's important to kind of go through some basics and to realize that and realize that sort of how powerful those very basic operations can be in the context of neural networks. And it's good, so I'm just tooting my own horn, but that's what I would recommend.
Definitely check out the book. Yeah. Yeah, I would. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I really think that the point that Josh just made around, when the system is visible, then you can also make better decisions, even as an engineer. Like if you know what's going behind the scenes, going on behind the scenes, it's like, okay, I think I can use this other product. That decision comes from understanding what's going on when you open the black box.
Absolutely.
So, Luis,
no, I just want to add to, definitely those resources are great. And I would like to add that I like to learn new things by playing. So, if I want to do, like, I don't want like to learn by learning, because it feels like school again. Like I like to learn by trying something, right? Like, just opening a lab and opening a data set and started to play with it, plot it, see what starts happening, and then organically, if you see that the data set looks like a line, look up linear regression or something. Josh has a great video on linear regression. And definitely like I like the way you play a sport, start kicking the ball and then you start learning the rules, but you don't just learn the rules first and then kick the ball, right? And I like to see it as a glass half full as opposed to glass half empty. Otherwise, I would just have too much guilt to even get out of bed. I like to see it like, I learned this. I added this to my knowledge, as opposed to I'm missing these things to become an expert, because there's just so much stuff that, I mean, I don't know so much stuff. So if you focus on what you know, it's such a big field, and it changes all the time, that I find that guilt is such a common thing. And I just want to say to everyone, remove all the guilt, because it's impossible to be expert in all these things, right? Like, I'm the farthest from being expert in all the things.
I think that's amazing. That's an amazing bit of advice, to just focus on the things that you have learned, rather than the infinite number of things that you haven't, because nobody's learned everything, right? Even the best, most expert of experts, the knowledge that they don't know is infinitely larger than what they've actually acquired. I just, that perspective right there is a game changer.
And things look so much easier when you know them than when you don't. So you tend to devalue your knowledge. For example, like riding a bike. If you don't know how to ride a bike, it looks impossible. But when you know it, you don't just go, oh, I know how to ride a bike. You just put it in the back burner, and it never like, you don't value it anymore. So when you compare what you know, let's say you know this and somebody else know this, but we tend to like minimize this and maximize this, because it just looks harder. So
I love that.
Definitely that. Yeah. So by the way, we're taking questions from the crowd. I am doing a regularly in a not very good job at picking them, because there's too many. So if anybody has a question and like we didn't address it, just feel free to ask it again in the thread, and I'll just put some of them. For example, what are the most in-demand jobs expected to emerge from the use of AI over the next 5 years? That's one. What do you guys think? I'm gonna go with predicting predicting the future is hard. What do you think of prompt engineering? What do you guys think of prompt engineering? Like, is that something that'll pick up, or is that something that'll go up and back down?
It'll be around as long as sort of large language models are around. And it is one of these like super tricky little things, prompt engineering. I think it'll be, I don't think it's going anywhere as long as the state of the art doesn't fundamentally change. Like, we've been working with transformers now for 8 years, almost 9 years. And the fundamental architecture has not changed. And as long as that's still in place, I think prompt engineering will be around.
Yeah. I think anything fundamental. I mean, I think syntax is getting easier, and we've seen that for a while. It went from punch cards to assembly to C++ to Python to English. But I think the background of what is the core concepts of computer science, of programming, of mathematics, I think they're going to be useful all the time. And I think I think a good data scientist is somebody who knows all those concepts and knows how to apply them to the real world. So what Gaurav was speaking earlier of, like, he uses an example of like the WhatsApp algorithm, like if you know that, you can translate it to something new that is different. So if you like the good context switching and knowing how to apply to real life, I think it's pretty useful. So I think that's how you stay relevant in the job market.
I'm seeing some developments right now in the AI space which are trying to standardize the communications across systems. So for the first time, we have had AI come into almost every system. Every new system is trying to. I mean, there's a lot of systems which are trying to incorporate AI now. So there was a time when you could share your data from one system to another, and you needed a way to do this seamlessly. And this is what's happening with AI now. That okay, I have my user data. I don't want to give them give their personal data away, but I also want to share it because it's really useful. Gmail might want to do that with, let's say, Facebook, as long as you give them permission of your data. So how do these systems share it? That's something, if you're looking at how those protocols work, I see in the near future, in the next 5 years, your jobs will be pretty secure because you have various companies. They need to talk to each other. Earlier, you were doing this through simple API calls. Now you're going to do it through more complex ways, so that AI systems can also read it. But yeah, I see this as a space.
Any like big challenges on that on that front right now?
Always companies have their own thing that, I'm going to keep my data this way, and standardizing things is hard because many companies have to agree together. So
Okay.
some open source, like a group of engineers come up with this, and then the large companies either accept it or they don't. They take their own time. So this has always been a big challenge. So there is this new model context protocol, and I see that it's getting a lot of traction. So
Yeah.
maybe the
I find
next
it
2 years.
interesting if the challenge is the humans not agreeing, the machines are fine, and the challenge is us fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Yeah,
that's the biggest challenge is political problems. Political in the sense, even between companies, there's this thing that why would Google share its data with some other company which is going to perform better with Google's data? So
right,
and
right.
then you have that fight.
That's rough when we're the bottleneck, because that one we can't really fix. Yeah. Will we have commercial robots after 10 years with just LLMs, or do we need AGI for it? I love that question by Ritik.
I think can I throw in my quick answer?
Please.
I think it's definitely don't need AGI for that. I feel like it's for what we really need is sort of figure out way to like miniaturize and scale the production of commercial robots
Yeah.
I mean, we already have I mean, they may not be the most impressive things, but we already have robotic vacuum cleaners scooting around. It's not going to be, it doesn't take a lot to add sort of a language model on, now that we can get language models running on personal devices, it's, it's there, I don't think there's a lot to getting something that might be a robot rolling around the house, sort of helping out with random things, being a little assistant, like handing me tools while I'm trying to cook something, or handing me a spatula, or saying, oh, you're going to need the salt, or something like that. I feel like, and you don't really need AGI for that kind of stuff, because a lot of that's just sort of pattern matching. If it watches me cook a couple of times, it'll realize that this is when I always make a huge mess, and so that's when it takes over and it does it for me, because they watched the YouTube video or the TikTok video of how someone like cooked this beautiful omelet, and it does. I think that stuff will happen fairly soon. It's just a function of bringing the cost down for the hardware, and that's a problem we typically know how to solve. That's not a conceptual barrier between now and when we have those things. It's just, that's just the way the market works.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think we'll have them.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, we're gonna have?
I think that's definitely going to happen too.
Yeah.
Whatever Josh said is, I'm quite sure, because we have a lot of a boom for quick commerce, food delivery within 10 minutes, or you want to order groceries, they'll be at your home in 10 minutes.
That's impossible in Bangalore, by the way.
No, the way they do it is
the traffic or what?
You can't even walk a block in 10 minutes. The traffic's so bad.
That's
yeah.
Bangalore has
in Colombia, will be the same thing. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they'll have to get the drone. That drones will really have to be doing all the delivery. Yeah.
If you can get drones to come over here and I open my window and then I just accept the parcel, that would be.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yes, that's again, you have the same regulation problem that if you do this, you lose hundreds of thousands of jobs. So so there's a problem. I think you had that problem with self-driving cars in the US. So it is a trade-off. So
yeah, you always have to be thinking of that, right? Like every technology gets some jobs are lost and others are gained, and it's more of the human problems we're talking. It's some things are the human. It's a society thing that you need to fix, and sometimes technology just rises a problem that's already there. And cool. Well, the time flies when you're having fun. We're almost. By the way, I'm just gonna highlight this comment. Says we need a mega course from the three of you. We're gonna be in Bangalore. Could happen. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Let's do it.
The option is there. The door is fully open. This door is fully open.
So my house is open for Yeah, is open. Yeah.
Okay, next time we meet, we're gonna be in that at your place with that board behind, and then we'll just do a course there.
That's
How's
right.
that?
I love
It'll
it.
be awesome if you
Cool.
guys really come over. I mean, I'm going to be my son. He's going to be super excited. Like, oh, these guys on
I would
screen.
love to meet
I've seen them on screen earlier. Yeah.
I'd love to meet your son. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I cannot
Cool.
wait. That's going to be
I
so
would
magical.
love to introduce you guys to him. Yeah, of course.
We're delighted. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I mean, time flies. We're almost at the end. So, any final thoughts from any of you guys?
It was a
my
pleasure.
final thought, and guys, if you have if you're a member of my channel or if you have seen anything that I have published, Luis has by far the best intuitive videos of machine learning. Please do check them out. And Josh is a kind of person who creates videos, and you watch 10 of those videos and you realize that, oh, I just watched 10 videos. You don't even realize that
you binge watch.
Yeah.
YouTube's really clever about it. It recommends you the next video and you go like, oh, one more video. This is yes. So
I love it.
You're so kind,
that's
Gaurav.
really good. And thank you for inviting me, making me
Oh,
part of this, because it's like a dream come true, really. It's been for a long time. I've been speaking to Luis 5 years now.
Yeah.
And we were thinking of doing something together. This is the first time, and I'm really happy. Josh, you're the best surprise that could have happened.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm delighted. I mean, and I echo that. I love your channel, Gaurav. It's amazing. If anybody is here, not go subscribe to Gaurav's channel, Gaurav Sen, and also check out Interview Ready for the best courses. I'm very happy to have you here on this and to be able to ask you questions and live. Josh, amazing content. One of the best AI channels. The book as well. So anybody watching this, go check out Gaurav's material and Josh's material. I love me and mine as well. I'm so happy to meet my heroes and get to hang out with them. So this is an honor for me, and it's wonderful. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Bam.
This is a triple bam. This is a triple bam.
Triple bam. I love it.
Any final songs?
Have a great day.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here, for joining us in our chat. There'll be more of these. And have a great day, everybody.
Yeah.